Yep, I'm there. Paul Isaacs here again with Sound Devices, Director of Product Design, and I'm at our 8 Series recorder mixer tabletop here. So we've got, I'm going to make the assumption that, you know, people who are watching this have some level of familiarity with our premium 8 Series range of recorder mixers, of which we've got here the Scorpio, the 888 here, and the 833. What I really want to focus on is wireless integration into the 8 Series. And with that in mind, let's take a look at our new A20-Nexus digital wireless, true diversity, up to 16 channels of wireless, digital wireless receiver here. This is the A20-Nexus. What we think is the most groundbreaking receiver money can currently buy. Right now, you see it docked on top of an 888 here. So this would make a really nice bag setup with up to 16 channels of recording and wireless and mixing all in one box, okay? So we're going to mainly focus on this. Yeah, so the Nexus comes as standard as an 8-channel built-in receivers, but it can be expanded via expansion licenses up to 16 channels. And if you have those installed, this is like your home interface where you can see up to 16 channels, all built into a half rack width 1U chassis. 16 channels in that size is incredible. I mean, to get the equivalent with any competitor's system, I mean, you're talking much larger setup than that. Also saves a lot on power too. So we've got this lovely touch interface for navigating the system. But let's talk about some fundamentals of this Nexus. First, I want to talk about Spectra Band, which is our name for the ultra-wide tuning capability of this. Now, most receiver systems will allow you to tune sort of across the UHF, say 470 to 606, you know, up to 700 sort of frequency range. But this, in one box, allows you to tune all the way from 470 up to 1,525 megahertz, which is incredible. And the transmitters that are part of the Nexus system, the A20 transmitters that we have here, also have that same wide tuning capability. And what this means is that you only need one SKU. There's not different models. You don't have to worry about sort of having certain models that cover this particular range, other models which cover this range, which is a challenge to manage your inventory, especially if you're you work in productions which are global and you're moving around the world and you need different frequency ranges. This system covers it all. So that's one thing, the Spectra Band. Another aspect of Spectra Band is that this Spectra Band wide frequency range is divided up into what we call tuning bands. And there's, on average, it depends which country you're in, but on average there's about 30 to 40 of these. And, well, let's say 20 to 30 of those. And these tuning bands are very, very tightly filtered using hardware filters to do the most incredible job of eliminating or attenuating to almost nothing out-of-band interference, which makes it far more predictable to know that you're getting a reliable and robust wireless audio connection from your transmitter to your Nexus. So that's Spectra Band. Now, the other fundamental part of the Nexus is that it can talk back, the receivers can talk back to the transmitters wirelessly over really long distances. And that's a technology we've developed called Nexus Link, which uses the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum, which is license-free globally. That's why we chose it. But we've developed our own protocol. We're not using Wi-Fi, we're not using Bluetooth, because both of those really are not suited to super long range, and neither are suited to congested 2.4 gigahertz environments like this trade show. So we've developed this low protocol, which is based on a whole bunch of different core technologies, but One of the fundamental reasons why we can get such good phenomenal range is we're only using it for extremely low data, you know, turning on and off transmitters, setting frequencies, setting RF power, things like that. And there's a law of physics. If you're transmitting sort of really low data rate, you can get greater RF range. But there's a whole range of other tools and things clever things we're doing within Nexus Link to get that super long range. And we designed it from the ground up to ensure it has much longer range than the audio link from the transmitter to the receiver. So if you start getting dropouts, you can still from the receiver change your parameters on your transmitter. Maybe you want to increase the RF power so that you don't get the dropouts anymore. Maybe you want to change the RF frequency because there's some interference. So you can do all that remotely. So that's Nexus Link. The other big part of the A20 Nexus system and the transmitters are we have a technology called gain forward, which essentially means you no longer need to worry about setting the gain on your transmitters, which a production sound mixer or a mixer often has to do when talent goes from a whisper to a scream or vice versa. You need to be able to change and optimize your gain structure accordingly. But because we have such wide dynamic range preamps on these transmitters, which is much wider than any lav mic on the market, you don't need to worry about the additional noise that this might add or clipping on the transmitter itself. You won't be able to do it. So that full dynamic range from the lav will get transmitted to your receiver here. It's a digital transmission. The digital signal here can then be fed directly digitally into your mixer, and then you simply adjust the trim control on your mixer as if it was just a wide mic. If you're not using our particular 8 series as your digital as your mixer, then you can come out of the Nexus either via Dante. We've got up to 16 channels of Dante out. We've got 16 AES digital outs as well as 16 analog outs, and therefore you can pretty much connect to anything. On the subject of Dante, you can also bring Dante into this box. Having said that, you can't do that when the Nexus is actually docked on the 8 series. In this particular case, that doesn't really matter because the 888 has Dante built in. But when you're running the Nexus standalone, it has not actually mounted on the 8 series. The Dante is active, and you can connect that to any mixer you like. We can also send Dante from your mixer to the Nexus, and you might want to use that, for instance, for taking comms feeds from your desk or what have you to the Nexus, and then converting it at the Nexus to its AES or analog outs to feed maybe IFB. Now, why is that useful? It makes the Nexus work not just well in a bag or on a cart, but also remounted remotely, much closer to where the talent is on set. The advantage of that, of course, is you're reducing the distance between the transmitters and the receivers to virtually eliminate any form of dropout. So if you can get this close to action, that's great. So to be able to, when you do that, there are 3 tools which make us running the Nexus remotely, make that possible. And that is, firstly, we have PoE. So the Nexus can be powered over Ethernet via an RJ45 cat cable. All you need is a PoE injector or switch that's compatible to provide the power over that Ethernet cable. Over the same Ethernet cable, you can transmit the Dante 16 channels of wireless audio back over Dante, back to your mixer over the same RJ45, and then over the same Cat5 cable. And then you've also got the ability to control the Nexus remotely via that same cable. We have a web server built in here, so as long as you type in the IP address of that web app built into our box here, then you can open it up on any browser, on any tablet, phone, or computer, and control the box that way. So, pretty useful tool. That's a very key application for this product, as well as operating in a bag. Now, another thing that I want to talk to you about here is the Nexus device here also has a built-in RTSA. That's a real-time spectrum analyzer, and you can see it here. And what that's giving us is an actual real-time view of what's going on in the RF environment now. It's such a valuable tool because you know exactly where to put your frequencies. And right now, I'm going to show you how easy it is to use the RTSA to not just see the RF environment, but to place your transmitter on a new frequency. So let me just show you that. I'm looking at a particular range here, 470 to 494. That's the particular tuning band I've chosen right now. I've got this blue cursor. I can come in here and say, I want to put my frequency just here because it's looking fairly clean. So I've moved that there. I can fine tune it using this knob here, and I get a digital readout of the frequency and the RF dBm value there, so you know that it's good or not. And this is my transmitter. I just want to make sure this is my transmitter. It's currently sitting there. So let's see. I'm just going to ID it to make sure that's the one. Right, oh, so that's flashing, which means that's the one I'm controlling. Good, that's the one I've just ID'd. Let's go back to my RTSA now. So I'm transmitting on one just here. I'm going to move that channel to here. So I simply press the knob and say assign to receiver 1. I do that, and you can see immediately it moves from there to there. Let's just quickly do that again. I'm going to now move that to here. Let's just zoom in a little bit. Whoops, no, to here, just so I can see more clearly. Come into there, and I'm going to move that to there, and it's moved that. See how quickly that is? What I'm doing here is choosing that frequency, it's setting the receiver, and then the receiver is next linking that data to the transmitter over wireless. And this could be done over hundreds and hundreds of feet because of this long-range next link protocol. Now, even better is we have an auto-assign feature. Let's just access that, which makes the Nexus, enables it to do this over multiple channels very, very quickly. So I'm going to select my auto-assign icon. I'm looking at the tuning band again here, and it's all highlighted blue. I can choose which range of this I want to allocate my channels in. So I'm going to make that the start, and then I'm going to go to end and say here. So I want my transmitters to go in there. They're currently here. So I'm now going to hit OK, and what it's going to do, it's going to look for clean frequencies within that section and then automatically assign them to the transmitters. So here we go. It's now analyzing that space, and it's found the two frequencies and then moved them there. One's just on the corner just there. So there you go. How easy is that? Let's just home in a little bit more there. Yeah, okay. Perfect. Okay, so that's auto assign. Obviously, that's if we had 16 transmitters, it would do the same there. So this is a really great frequency coordination tool. All right, that's a brief overview of Nexus. There's a lot more to it. I mean, we have there's a timecode input, so our transmitters are all capable of recording as well. So if you feed timecode into the back of Nexus or from the 8 series, if it's connected to an 8 series, the timecode actually comes from the 8 series, and you set the transmitters to record mode using this button here, then it will automatically send the timecode value from your 8 series or your Nexus directly to your transmitters over the air. And all those transmitters will be dead in sync. So you can leave them running, recording all day, and then bring those files back on the built-in recordings on these transmitters and then merge them into one file. We've got a special utility for that called SD utility, which merges into a file all fully synchronized and then send that off to post. So that's a quick overview. I mean, there's so much more to this. If you want to find more about this, then please either visit our website, or if you're here at the trade show, please come along. And just to let you know, we do have other receivers as well, which work with our super slot-based system, which you were showing here with the SL2. These are the A20-RX receivers, 2 channels per receiver, so we have 4 channels here if you don't need so many channels. And these have Spectra Band technology as well. And yeah, and get us all the benefits. I think I'm going to leave you there. Thank you. A lot of this content from Walter van Dusen is available online, so you should really be checking out all his great videos. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Paul. You're great, and you got big blue eyes. I like that.